have a look at the carburetor that came with the tractor. This is the original, I don't know, is it the original, but it apparently was on the tractor, and it came with the tractor because there's an aftermarket one fitted. So it's a 24 T2, and it has the right number on it there, 1202, and it has VO there for vaporizing oil. So I have to obviously make up a decision on whether or not to strip this down and try and get it functional. I do have some spares for these carbs. The choke seems to be held on using this cable tie to kind of hold it on, because it is meant to spring back off. And on this side, the bracket for the choke rod is missing. Here's one here that's nearly complete. There's a bit broken off of there, but your choke rod will go in there, and from the dash then you can pull your choke on, and when the engine starts and it's happy to run without it, you can let it off and it'll work the butterfly. So this kind of a little bushing or something was put on there. So what would have to be done to get this functional is to take out the two screws in there on the brass kind of butterfly lad, take this off, push out the choke shaft, and then try and rebuild all of this. There's a bushing, and then there's this little cross piece there, and there's also meant to be another bit on the back of that works the throttle. So when you pull the choke, it gives it a little bit of throttle, and that helps starting. How you get away with using this without that bit on it is you just pull the hand throttle, give it a bit of throttle on the hand throttle. But so you can get away without that. But the biggest concern with this carburetor is the slow running or idle jet is broken and sheared off in the body of the carb. So the chances of drilling that out and getting that out without destroying the kind of cone taper that's in there that's designed to work against is fairly low, that we'd be able to get that out without making a dog's dinner of the treads and further in as well. So the slow running or idle jet, this one here doesn't have its spring on it, I think I've kept that in the box of spares, is something like this. And this is just the amount of air that's drawn into the, and this is a bad example because it's such a badly corroded carb, but there's a hole in there. Can you see it there? Yeah, you can just probably see it there, yeah. And that's going to filter in air into the Venturi and allow a mixture of air and fuel to go into the engine, so when she's ticking over. So there's meant to be a spring on this. By adjusting this, you're adjusting the amount of air that's going into the engine on slow running or idle, and you get a more level tick over. So the fact that that is missing is a bit of a concern. Well, not missing, but broken off in such a way that it's, you know, going to be hard to repair. This isn't a factory part either. I think I'm trying to see if I have one there actually left. That one was actually sheared off. I have some in a box, but I also have a little lad here I bought on eBay lately, and what we're looking for is, this is actually for, as you can see, a Petter industrial engine, but it's that with a kind of a wing nut, kind of a wing that you can twist, and that's your throttle idle stop. So by adjusting that inwards, you're increasing the throttle or increasing the idle speed. So that is missing off it as well. I think I have some spares of those there. Now I don't know, is that actually sheared off in there? I can't really make it out yet. No, there it is. Yeah, so this would probably work as is, but yeah, it probably wouldn't foul the throttle rod there as well. It wouldn't get in the way. But I just don't know. I don't really know. I haven't really seen one of these main jets as well with such a big kind of a little tit sticking out of it. little, that raised piece there. This is aftermarket as well as a bolt. That's no big deal. Originally, well, this is a bad example, it's fairly well corroded, but it's just been a cross piece. That's not important for the function of it. So with all that in mind, like the throttle shaft looks good, the butterfly looks good. There's a good bit of wear in it. Probably take that out. There's a few little tricks I have to taking that out, but I just don't know, is it worth investing a whole lot of time when you can buy good ones for these for about 100 sterling and a bit of postage, and use this then as, you know, parts in the future. Maybe if you need them, you'd hope that after spending 100 sterling that you'd get a good unit. I've got a good few good units. This isn't like the distributor that has a month and a date on it that dates it specifically to the tractor, because I think now, after seeing the distributor dated as 55 and May 55 at that, I'd prefer to overhaul the original distributor. So because these aren't actually dated and stamped, I would sooner just get a proper 24 T2 vaporizing oil one and strip that down and go through it, and maybe just have this stay with the tractor as for keepsake, or be able to say it's the original. But I don't know if it's going to work out. It's possible if you can get that out. I can try and get it out. I don't think I have a stud extractor that's small enough to go in there, and I'm fairly sure the threads are strange as well, and I don't know if I'd have the right threads. And it's not just a bolt or a screw, it's going into a machined taper that you have to be careful. If I run a drill bit in too far in there, you know, I'm going to destroy that taper, and I'm going to destroy the bit in there that's meant to meet up exactly with this. So I think it's probably a wise decision to go for a better unit, and to maybe just keep this for parts down the road, maybe if needed, or just to be able to say it's the original carb and keep it with the tractor. But we'll run it past the owner, see what they think, but that would be my take on it anyway. Right, so the first thing to do is start getting this bonnet off. So all of these loose in there now, so I'm trying to use the gun a bit more for the likes of that spinning, because when you work on a computer all day like I do, you'll be surprised the wear and tear on the hands after a couple of years. And then you come out here and your spanner and socketing. Right. So that's that. So that's another job we actually did on the 20 diesel there. I meant to say there was two big dents in under the bonnet, and it's because what they had done was they had fitted this on top, and then they had the bolt going through and they had a washer, so it was sticking up and the bonnet was coming down and it was hitting that. So at least before we got sent it back, we fitted it underneath there, and it stopped a lot of the rattling as well in the bonnet, and that's what was causing it. So and after I put it under there, it closed on nicely onto the dash. So that's that ready to go. Take out the two bolts in the front of each side of the bonnet now. Actually, if we can get that little bracket off, we will. It's a matter of sliding it down to the bottom. There we go. Someone was keeping it well greased up anyway. So, first part off, apart from the battery. The next job is to go and whip off the bonnet. So I'll come back when we have that ready to lift. I have me little kind of a chair that I use to hold the bonnet, and that means then we can work on the headlights. Well, these originally came with captive nuts on the front axle, and your bolts went straight into them. So happy to say both of them are there. It makes for a lot easier for taking them out and for putting the bonnet back on, because it has this little point on it. So it's really easy to locate it. So that is really nice to see. That's not something you see every day. A lot of the time people over tighten them and ended up breaking the bracket around the nut, and that was then the story. They just put in a normal nut and bolt through it. So it's nice to see that, I have to say. Okay, that'll do. We'll lift her off. I just want to disconnect the wires up at the dash, and we'll lift that off out of the way. That switch there, and the whole middle of it fell out. So that wasn't going to go doing a whole lot. But what we do have here, I am a big fan of these original battery cables. Whatever way they join them in there, between the soldering and everything, they're just, you're never going to get anything like them again. Never. Now this one's a little bit hairy, but we will be able to go and tidy it up a little bit with a heat shrink over it or something. Regardless, they are unreal once you clean them up. These clean up lovely because they're not made of modern crap metal, they're made of brass and stuff. So that should do the finest. Mind you, I think that's a battery lead. Yeah, that's a battery lead. That was actually, you just see the little block there, it was actually lengthened. So I'd say if we remove that bit there, we'll probably have the more original one. And the earth on these originally was attached to the dash. See up here? That's all there. That could actually be, dare I say it, is it? No, it's not original. Someone's after putting a different end on it, but the cable itself is original. I'm not a fan of earthing something so light as that, and so far away from the likes of your spark plugs. Like the spark plug has to find earth through the engine, through the cylinder head, and it has a long way to go. And originally these were fitted with a gasket there as well, so you're relying on the bolts, and you're relying on cast iron meeting a mix of aluminium and magnesium, and it's only true where they actually bolt through it's going to make the connection. So I prefer personally to earth the actual engine like I did on the Gold Belly, if you're watching those videos, excuse me. Yeah, so that's just with the bonnet off. It's up the back on that little kind of a seat thing that I was about to throw out years ago when I was renting a house. It was left in the house. We bought the house, and I remember thinking, that is the most useless looking chair I've ever seen in my life. And then I realised it's actually ideal for supporting a Ferguson 20 bonnet. Move it forward a little bit more and it'll sit down in there, just like it did in the last project there when we were working on the headlights. Might be able to tap out, take the bad luck off him. Yeah, nice badge on it. So we'll do a little bit of work in rewire these, like we did with the last set. Wires, lights are very bad here now, I'm afraid, but as you can see, it's the art of making do, I suppose. Back in the day, you needed lights to do the job, and they were put on. Simple as. So that's crack. That's where we're at. Now I did overfill a little bit there. I see a little bit of water there, so we'll just keep an eye on it keep it topped up, keep an eye on it over the next while. Mightn't be leaking there at all, probably leaking down from this pipe here is it's not blocked, so we can put a bit of rubber pipe on that, run it down. It seems to have an original rad cap as well, or a very old one anyway. We'll keep an eye on that there. Doesn't look like it's leaking, looks like a nice little seal on it. Has its original drain tap, very nice. What's that? Split pin. castellate a nut. Never saw that before. It's probably been a while before that radiator was off, but yeah, so they're the captive nuts there for the bonnet. It's really nice to see them now, I have to say. Yeah, very nice to see them. So nothing more really to report there. This is the boy that's worn, and it's wobbling over and back, and it's just a softer metal, so we'll have to replace that with a nice harder metal. This is an original one there, and it's just a different ball game altogether. It's solid. So you'd be surprised the amount of free play that can actually cause in other places, and how it, you know, transfers to the wear in the front axle and to the radius arms there underneath the foot pegs as well. Like in the last tractor there was a bit there. There's usually always a bit, you know, in there. A small bit on that. The old penny trick will take. This doesn't have a stud, it's replaced with a nut. So we'll have a look at that. Yeah. So that's roughly where we're at now. We'll take off the tank next, which is going to be a little bit more challenging than we thought, because you see them gutter bolts, they're an absolute disaster for corroding. So and the access isn't, that's okay under there, we should be able to, it's just they usually end up spinning, and it's hard to get a screwdriver that's actually going to grip that. So there's one in there, I think there's only one in the back as well, so there. That's a little bit heavy for access there. So these originally had captive nuts as well, so these are obviously narrower bolt, and they went through the captive nut, and they probably put yeah, a nut below it. So we'll have a go. It'll be probably awkward enough. We'll start spraying them down now and seeing what they're, well, hopefully get them off, I suppose. Okay, so yeah, some of these older gutter bolts, you know, had a kind of a better, they weren't like the modern ones that really rusted. They had a lovely kind of a soft metal in them, and I won't speak too soon because we do have a turning. It can often get tight at the end, but so far we're looking good. When we get this out, then I know that the thermostat housing I have has the treads are good in it, so it'll be able to take the proper bolts, and we'll be laughing. There'll be no more need for a nut underneath at all. So that's coming off great. Just lucky now. Up she comes. Yeah. So that's okay. Will we be as lucky on... I got some feedback there in a comment just about the walking around with the camera. I know it's a long camera stand, so it's about, as I said, just to try and keep it a bit more steady. So I'm going to try and do that. The phone and the camera itself is it's where it's attached is actually gone very loose, so I may just tighten that up, and it will hopefully steady things up a bit. But I know there's nothing worse than watching something and things are, it's hard on the eyes now. So there's another one there. That is good if we're going able to keep going at that rate. So here's my attempt at keeping it nice and steady. And if this isn't steady enough for you, you may blame it on the repetitive strain injury that I have in my hands. Which, and I can tell you, that's not going to go improving anytime soon, because I don't give them a break. Okay, so let's try and take off the tank. Now in a minute we'll just turn off the fuel and take off the pipe on the back. It's usually never chrome because they're all brass. I have to, in my head, do this because it's backwards, make sure I'm actually loosening. The righty tighty lefty loosey doesn't work when it's back on the back of something. Okay. Whoa. That's like paint strippers, that is. Wow. How are we now? There we go. She's been sitting there for a while. Oh, there's a great smell off that. Stings the senses in a good way. I might throw a splash of that under the armpits now before I go out for a pint tonight. To keep the midges away. There we go. Right. Oh, I'm itching to get under that rocker cover. Itching to go under it. See what lurks beneath. Because that is going to tell a tale. So it is. It's either 13/16, usually the 7/8. Yeah, there we go. So this is Harry Ferguson's early EGR kind of a thing, if you want to call it that. Allowed all the vapours coming from the engine back into the intake and reburnt it. So, mind you, I'd say the emissions out of these things when they're burning kerosene now is something savage. So to get that pipe off, we have to get the heat shield off. So they're normally 11/16, so they could be down to 5/8. There were bolts on the tractor that would also fit, but they were a 5/8 head. So we'll give that a go and see. If we loosen them, I'll get a socket. Oh, beautiful. There's a nut behind it there. So let's see what's happening. Sometimes it actually spins the whole adapter. But we'll replace them with the proper. No. See what's going on. Maybe the bolts are just too long. There's no need for them extra big nuts on the top. Heat shield in good nick. Might just drill that hole there and put in a tiny little bolt through it just to keep that nice and neat. Okay. Some people just used to tap them up there, I suppose, just try to get a better, I suppose, seal more heat in. So we'll just reshape that as well with the dent hammers. Put it down on a flat surface and just get all of that nice and neat. But other than that, they're a lovely part because they don't rust. Okay, so these are all good. Let's see what's happening with the bolts. They're just too long. Ah, yeah, that makes sense now. That's all that's wrong with them. Oh yeah, they're banjo bolts with the same thread. So that's okay, we'll get the right ones for it. One's a banjo bolt. One's definitely like a massive Ferguson bolt. But anyway, same thread, the smaller head. We'll get it all right. That's no problem at all. So now we just have to get our 11/16 in at that lad there. And we have to be careful that the pipe doesn't spin with it, because that can end up bending it. So let's give it a slight spray, I suppose would be the thing to do. And that will just help lessen the chances of it spinning with the nut. There we are. That's a good mix. Some of these ones are really, they can be really bent and stuff. This one's in great nick. Now whether it's clear is another thing. Some of these get so blocked you will not clean them out, especially with the twists that are in them and all of that. I remember trying to poke every type of a wire down one of them and air gunning and label it soaking in petrol and all of that. You just won't. So that's enough for that. Okay, let's go around the other side. This is all going to tell a big tale now, what is underneath this valve cover, rocker cover. Right, let's get our 1/2 inches. That is already something. There's something exciting and something, I don't know. So there's something lovely about opening up the guts of an old engine. smelling that whole fuel. That's something I can share with you. I can't share with you the smell of that old kerosene and the old, especially the old petrol. Reminds me of being 12 years of age again, hanging around with Dad. We were doing up one of these that we got for £40, and it had a cracked cylinder head, and we were trying to find another one, and all of that brings me right back to that. You never forget the smells, because there's nothing like it. That's why. That's getting a little bit tight as it's loosened. That's okay. Okay. It's meant to be a one-way valve. You can just see it there. Little lad there. That's actually grand. Not too bad. It's a bit. Oh, it's actually fairly blocked. But once that little bit of wire, once we can get him moving and sticking down like that, he'll do his thing. He's designed so that when the crankcase pressure builds up, he'll open and he'll allow it out. But when there's suction on it, then it'll close it. It's basically like a float, needle float in the carb to a certain degree anyway. Okay, have we got? We have sealing washers on the top. On the bottom, I should say, we've none on the top. So that's all right. So we'll put that back in for safekeeping. We have the nuts out. It's been a while since she's been opened, lads. What lies in here now, I wonder? I might just actually, I'll just come back. I'm going to take off that pipe because I have to clean it anyway. Okay, so the pipe's off, and good news, it's unblocked. It's not blocked. So that is brilliant. It just helps with the engine, helps with all of that. So we're going to go lifting this off now and seeing what lurks underneath. So that's where we're going to leave today's video. Good luck and good night. Only messing. You want to see what's under here every bit as much as I want to see what's under here. Right. Okay. Let's get the work done. Let's see. Well, at least it's oily and there's no sign of water. Core plug is good. Wow. I'd say now head off. Cylinder head off, just simply to wash it safely, because there's some fairly big. What's that feel like now? Wow, it's gritty. Yeah, I'm not worried about that at all. It's nearly like that valve on top wasn't actually. Yeah, it was. Let's be honest, it was blocked. That does help a lot of this. So what happens is when that is blocked, all of that stuff rises up to the top of the rocker cover, and when the engine goes down, it forms condensation, and it's that gloopy. You're mixing basically water with oil, but there's a lot of dirt on that. My God, I mean, it's actually very gritty. Where the hell that was getting in? Sometimes I use copper washers on the top here underneath the nuts, and that helps seal it. There is a world of dirt there. I mean, power washer is going to be needed for that. Like you use that, and if you bring that into the parts washer, the parts washer is going to be washed after it. But it's okay. It's okay. If there was a big crack across it and mix the water, that's when I'd be right. This is only down to cleaning. These all feed apart from wow, valve clearance meant to be 0.010 of an inch. Current state will be about 40 or 50,000. That's. But anyway, what harm? We'll sort all that out. Okay, we're just going to stick a starting handle in the front of it there now at the engine and give her a spin and just get a look and see that all of this is moving. So give me a minute and we'll come back with a starting handle. Starting handle engaged. Nice bit of compression on it. Okay. Let's throw on the old rotor arm there and the distributor, see where we're at. 1 and 3 is firing there. There's some there's a gap there as big as Dunlow, County Donegal. 1, 3, 4 is firing. Yeah. She must have been fairly tickety, but 1, 3, 4. 2 has good compression as well. Wow. Nothing that can't be adjusted. And back to number 1. Oh God, there's good compression there. So I think a good batt for the rocker shaft. Head's going to have to come off. You can't clean that without. Unless, I don't know, would I be able to plug holes? I'll see. I don't think so. I mean, it is, wow. It's not worrying, but how do you clean it without going down into the push rod tubes and down to the cam followers? And I might do a compression test. I'll see, just scrape out as much as I can, pulling away from the, cleaning away from the push rod tubes. I don't know. And then do you go then and run a bit of diesel down through the whole thing and flush the whole lot out? I don't know. Taking off the cylinder head, like you can actually smell the kerosene, like, it's lovely. What do you do with that? Is it crazy going lifting the cylinder head just to clean the top of it? This is going to have to come off anyway. That'll give us a lot more room. So the only place that oil can go down, am I right in saying? Yeah, we'll have to just have a rethink when we take off that. But anyway, yeah, we'll have a think and see what we'll do. But it all looks good and there's no cracks. That's the main thing. If there was a crack, that'd be scrap. It's only dirty. But if we could clean it, clean the rocker shaft, which we no bother, check the head for torque. Yeah, it is possible to clean it without feck all going down there if we seal up them 8 rocker tubes, but I don't know. We'll see when we have this off anyway. Right, so we did see a bit of let's flush this tank out. My God, fairly crazy shit in there. This definitely wants to be tightened. So we have a lock nut on the front, and then that's the size it is. 11:30 seconds. Not very often hear that size on anything anymore. So we'll take off the front 11:30 seconds. Bit of a mouthful to say, but I just want to, I'll be able to test this to see for sealing very easily. Just throwing a drop of juice in it. But I do like that, the tap to have a certain kind of resistance in it when you're turning it. I don't want it too tight that you can't turn it like that. There's a cork gasket in there behind it. I have to replace, to work on that, on the similar one on the 20 diesel there we were on. So we'll chance that and we'll put the nut back on. There's only a spring in behind that, it's only pushing it, a spring on, really. It's not actually physically acting on the front of the tap lever. Just to make sure that it doesn't loosen itself, that's all. And we'll see how that is. If we think it's too loose, or if it's leaking, you just give it another little nip like that. It's nearly bedding in a little bit there now as it's turned. I like them to be firm enough now. The cork does need to be wet to kind of seal. So there you go. That should do that. Need to do a little bit of work on that. It's well and truly stuck on there. Oh, it's broken, that's why. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I'll show you now what's happening here. A little bit of... Yeah, I might have a spare one of these and it's broken as well, I think. But I think I have another one that's complete. They're just sitting in there now to actually take it up. Take up the... Yeah, that's tight. But it's not tight in there. So yeah, we'll spray it down, return to it. It's just to give it a bit of a clean out, that's all. Let it all sit in that now for a while. Okay. This one's either a rubber gasket in there, O-ring, or a cork. Doesn't matter once it's not leaking, and it wasn't leaking. So just to give it a wipe out, that's all, because I have flushed it. But look, we'll be able to. We obviously have to be able to get it off. It's a maintenance item. So we'll work on it. We'll leave it just soaking there overnight, and we'll return to it. Very good. So, what else would there be to do, I suppose, on that? If you wanted to take some of the dirt off of it, to be honest, it's not going to go make any difference. Yeah, there wasn't too much dirt in it. It was actually a lot of, some of it fell out there actually on the ground. Trying to figure out what it is a metal. It is actually rust, yeah. Yeah, it's rust. Wow, smell of that now is bringing me right back. Wow, haven't smelled that in a long time. Okay, lovely. So that's just another little job done. Be able to blow it with the air gun dry, and then put it up, sitting upright, throwing a drop of juice into it, both tanks, and see, then leave it overnight, and if it's leaking, tidy it up. And we'll get this off, get that all freed up. I'll have a look and see if I have a better one of them, and if I do, sure, we'll fit it. Okay. I just want to take off all the leads. Take off this. Oh, it's a screw one. Okay. I want to just test the leads now. Right. Test them for continuity. Make sure there's no resistance means. Right, so these are actually, they're all replaced. It looks like the that wasn't going to do a whole lot. That's what happens to them over time. We get the Dremel at him and we shine him up. Do a proper job on him. On probably them all, I'd say. Some of the aftermarket parts are just not great, like. Oh God. Yeah. That is a pure white scum. See the way it should be? Wow. Yeah. I'll just get the other pick and just it's a sharper pick. And just see what we can do with this now. Meister got in there, and that's all it is. The Dremel will be able to go in there and clean that up anyway. We'll put a little stone polishing head on it, and a little Oh. Oh yeah, there's another one there. Yeah, not the best. Made in England, I'm very much doubt it. Yeah. Anyway. For them usual bloody QTP kind of buckles, what can you do? We'll turn her on to continuity all the same, and see, I want to make up my own HD leads, but it's nearly impossible to get the plug caps in Ireland, and yeah, it ends up costing about 60-70 euro by the time you bring everything over from England, and customs get their bit, and postal service gets their bit, and you pay for postage too on posts depot in England. You pay customs to open your parcel to make sure there's not any illegal things in it, and it all gets very expensive, and there's 23% of the price in that as well. So let's make sure. Am I on the right connection there at all? 10 amps. Unfused. Okay, it's probably in the wrong one. I did pull these out by mistake. There we are. So we should hear that beep, and that means everything's okay. Okay, so this is 0 there. I don't know, can you see that? You can, yeah. 0 means there's no resistance, 0 means the connection is good. These are not the greatest leads in the world, but it's hard to get a good set of leads in this country. Agriline, Sparex, QTP, all the usuals. Probably not the best in the world. Look. At least they're showing no resistance. There's no breakages, and there's no... Look, you could just put them on and run the engine. If it isn't misfiring, you'd be able to say, well, they're all good, like, but this is another way of being able to say that they're good. How much have we've tested? We tested 5. We have. So that's all tested. So that's just another little check done. Distributor cap is going to need a bit more work. I might have a look and see if I have something better myself. Yeah, I can definitely polish up them. There's no bother there, but it's something that will have to be continuously done with these. I find continuously polished or scratched. If you don't have a Dremel, it's hard to be scratching and scratching and scratching. Yeah, so see if something better anyway. But look, no nasty surprises really anyway. I'll show you the free play in the bearing. So watch this, you'll see it coming up. So it's just going to be a matter of tightening up those bearings. I don't know if that's very visible, is it? It is when you stand up higher anyway. It's definitely lifting a good bit there. Actually, if I drop the camera a little bit more, right, you'll be able to see. Now, watch there. See her hopping up there. Should be able to adjust all of that out. So that's just another little thing we'll sort anyway. Okay, so we're getting ready just to lift this rocker cover out, so I'm going to actually try. Realised I actually had a box of gloves in there, so I'm going to try and use them because this is it's pretty sticky kind of stuff. Now, so these all loosened off lovely. They were fairly bloody tight though, I can tell you. Okay, before I do on, I just want to check that that's good and tight, that bolt there, because that keeps your oil pressure good. If that's loose, it's not good. Yeah, if that falls out. On the 20 diesel there was one like that that had to fall out, so I just wanted to make sure that we're all okay. So we have a little helper running around there. She loves nothing more than coming out to the shed. Now, so we can give this a wash in the parts washer. Huh? That's all right, good. So that is going to be our clean-up job. So I'm going to go and wash this. I'm going to go and check all of these push rods to make sure none of them are bent. And what we'll do is we'll come back then and we'll have to come up with some way of cleaning the top of that head. Bit of a wash for these boys. There's a smashing smell of, as I was saying, of old paraffin in these all around, and smashing. Ish, cut out. Huh? Now, that's that. I'm giving this a wash already. I'm just going to go now and give it another wash. Off that. Off that. Great piece of kit this, because let's clean up. The second wash that's after getting now, so that should do it. Yeah, so we'll let them drip dry and give them a wipe out then and see how they look. So that's where we're going to leave it for this evening, and we'll pick up from here tomorrow evening, and we'll catch you then. Take her handy.